Yo, what up? It is the 4th of June 2024. It is currently 10:29 p.m. on a Tuesday. And we got an extra gold rose. So now we're sitting at a nice, what is that? 13 gold roses, is that? Yeah, 13. Very nice. Big ups from when I started this series, and I believe I was at 3 or 4. So I suppose in what is that, like 154 days, getting what 9 to 10 more. Yeah, that's pretty good. At this rate, by the end of the year, I'll have like 30 maybe. Peewee and Monique, it's so adorable. They're in the same organic Vichy Swat that club. Not that there's anything suspicious about that, right? I don't think this town is big enough to have the two of us, but also I don't think this town's big enough to have, like, clubs. Or at least more than, like, maybe 1 or 2. You'd have to be either committed to multiple clubs or shun certain interests just so that you could be in one specific club. I guess wouldn't that be a thing in real life? More so that clubs' populations would just either be really small or would just be literally everyone, so it might as well just be a regular get-together. There's a new TV show about catching bugs. Have you seen it yet? A firefly that got out of its cage makes its way back home, but it missed its regular feedings and it ran back to its cage. Do people keep fireflies? Probably. I mean, I don't know, like, beekeeping is probably the most popular insect-keeping type, and that's like that's like a productive thing because of honey. So I'm not sure why you'd keep fireflies. Although I know that in the case of bees, actually, like, apparently, like, those artificial hives, like, they do like being kept in those because they get to have, you know, a shelter for free without having to work as hard on stuff. And they, you know, they don't need all of the honey they produce, so it's actually a pretty good mutualistic relationship between beekeepers and bees. The famous... Oh wait, no, the famous painting. I forgot that can be sold as a spotlight item, actually. That's kind of bizarre. Also, is that guaranteed to be fake? Because I already have the real famous painting in there. I almost kind of want to buy it just to see, because... It was also suspiciously in Crazy Red store yesterday, which makes me think that Nook's buying from his competitor. Yeah, but I'd wonder if, you know, if beekeeping is a mutualistic relationship, then surely there are people that just like, have certain bugs as pets because they just want to help them out and they don't care that there's no utility towards them. I'm going to use this net to catch air, then I'll bottle it and sell cute Mateiio air in other towns. And good luck with that. Last time I checked, selling bottled, exotic bottled products to capture a specific essence does not usually go over well. If you know, you know. But, what was I was talking about, like, 15 things at once. Oh, yeah, like the firefly thing. Like, yeah, I'm sure there are people that keep tons of different types of bugs. I remember when I was a kid, I would try to... Oh, no, Monique's trying to... Oh, we talked about this, didn't we? I think it's time for Monique to go. I mean, I've got a picture and everything, and, you know, I've enjoyed having her around, but I think we've, had our piece. Yeah, I know it's sudden, but I'm moving. I'm not choosing a boy or anything foolish like that, don't you worry. Take care, Monique. Thanks for everything. I hope you find love soon, too. Well, okay, well, we don't need to get into that. Yeah, Monique, I liked having Monique around, though. But, yeah, I think it's about time we get someone new. We've had it pretty consistent. We've had it pretty samey for a while now, actually. One thing I've just got to make sure is that a garden is still kept up with, even though she won't be here anymore. I've heard things that the villagers will tend to their own, like, general area of, like, flowers, and I don't know if that's true, because I've played this game for probably, like... I want to say, like, at least a year's worth of days, I would say. if you consider all of these episodes along with all of the times I was playing before that and all the times I was playing before that. Yeah, and on all those hours, I have not seen a villager water flowers a single time. So, either I'm just incredibly unlucky, as demonstrated by me plucking that clover and not getting a 4-leaf clover, or that isn't a thing. Or if it is a thing, then it's like an invisible thing that they just do off screen. And you can't tell because in this game there's no watering indicator for flowers. I was wondering how easy that would be to add in if you were to mod this game, because I literally don't know anything about it. Apparently this game is not the easiest to mod, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Hey you been saving for a rainy day or what? Well, he's gonna make me buy something. Yeah, kinda. Oh man, that kinda chaps my hide. I guess this must be how parents feel, huh? You big freeloader. Jeez, Peewee, what's got you all twisted? Yeah, but I was wondering, like, how easy it would be to add that, sparkle mechanic they added to, I believe, New Leaf, where once you water a flower, it, like, sparkles for the rest of the day to indicate that you've watered it. Because, like, you know, I mean, the game already tracks whether or not you water flowers because, you know, if you water a wilted flower, then the next day it's not wilted anymore. So, theoretically, if the game has a variable for, you know, tracking whether or not a flower's been watered, all it would need to do is take that variable and then use that in, like, an if statement to say, if flower's been watered, then do a, you know, this sparkle animation. I don't know. I guess it could, I don't know how complicated that could be though, because, you know, certain effects might, overload this game, because it's already not exactly a game that runs perfectly. Maybe that's why, or maybe they just didn't have the foresight to think about it. This was the game where they introduced watering flowers, I think? I think that this game introduced watering. I don't think it was in the original, which is a weird thing to think about, because it seems like such an obvious, like, part of the game, and yet... Yeah, in a similar vein to how flying presents were in the original Animal Crossing, but there wasn't a slingshot. I believe you just kind of waited for them to, like, run into a tree, and then that's how you got them, because they flew really low to the ground. Oh yeah, I forgot Marina's sick. But yeah, I don't think they had watering flowers. I have to look into that more though. I need to play. I really want to play that game though, because you know, it kind of sounds like my style in terms of Animal Crossing. Considering I'm already more prone to the early entries than the newer ones. GameCube is probably like a. I don't know. I'd probably say even beyond it, whether or not it's the best, I just think it's so unique, like on the offset. But this has been such a total gloom shroom lately. It's like he's got this permanent storm system raining over his head. I wish he would talk to me. At least he's watering the flowers. Okay, well there's some text in some little implicit mention of watering flowers. I guess that's explicit. But whether or not that translates to anything in the actual game is beyond me, although I'm leaning towards it not. Yeah, but, oh man. Oh yeah, GameCube Animal Crossing just is so... Like, cause the thing is that I think the reason why Wild World is... Oops. I clicked something. Wild World is so, like, different is because it's kind of not capable of being able to replicate it. Like, it can't physically keep up with being able to do the stuff that GameCube Animal Crossing does in various aspects. You know, such as the wider variety of holidays, the bigger towns, the layered towns, having even as many... I'm pretty sure this game has less villages, but actually, maybe it's around the same. And so I think from here, because City Folk, you know, basically just made this game too, by just adding stuff to this formula, it sort of permanently took the series in a different direction. But I almost wonder if they had started instead with a traditional, like, home console sequel, then if it would have been more similar to the original, because they would have been able to get away with it from the beginning. Whereas the way it is now, it's sort of like Wild World set up this more restrictive style, or this, it was more of a, I don't want to say sterilized, but it's definitely stripped back, and then City Folk kind of ran with that stripped back style almost, I feel. I don't know. I still find value in this game, obviously, considering I'm playing it in the other ones, but I just think that it's kind of undeniable that the original has this, like, allure to it that's so interesting compared to even the most recent ones. Which is why I think if they're ever going to do, like, a re-release, remake thing of any game in the series, it probably should be the original, especially because of how inaccessible it is nowadays, what with it never having been re-released. Because, you know, Wild World was on the Wii Virtual Console, and I believe so was City Folk, along with it just being a Wii game, which means it was backwards compatible on the Wii. New Leaf is obviously recent, being on the 3DS, and New Horizons is obviously very recent, being on the Switch, so GameCube is kind of the least accessible one. Oh, killer timing! Listen, it's about my soup can. I'm always crashing into this thing when I'm working out, so I'll give it to you. Thanks. Oh crap, I've got to bring it. Bring it? What do you mean? We're in your house. Bring it where? Out of your storage? He has his own storage containers that he drives out to. Yeah, but, I mean, the one thing that I would be concerned with if they attempted a remake of GameCube Animal Crossing is trying to, like, tone down stuff, because it's like, you know, I mean, that's kind of the one of a part of it, right? Is that a mosquito? Ugh, bloody mosquitoes. I keep hearing mosquitoes and mistaking them for the UFO. But yeah, part of the allure was that, the dialogue being meaner, which is something they stopped doing. You know, Mr. Rossetti as a character started getting used less because of complaints of it being scary. And, you know, they've respected those complaints to the point that Rossetti really is barely even a character anymore. And I mean, better yet, he doesn't play a role anymore. So, just by default, there would be aspects of a remake of GameCube Animal Crossing that would be arguably stripped back. That it kind of makes you wonder what the value of a remake would be if it's not going to preserve the original game's vision. But, you know, I mean, the remake of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door came out, and I've heard that it's actually added stuff, or it's changed certain stuff up in a good way. Also, that's very cheap for the Mona Lisa. I might just keep this thing, I don't know. They are non-reorderable items, I'm pretty sure, so it's something nice to keep. But yeah, so, you know, I can see there being a potential for them to keep most of the, like, I guess, bite that the original Animal Crossing had, but you know, there's stuff like the NES games, which, you know, they've pretty famously never come back to as a concept, most definitely because they want to be able to, you know, sell those games, or at the very least, you know, tie them to some sort of service so that you continuously pay for them individually. I guess in Nintendo Switch Online's case, you are, you know, getting the online service with it. That's why I've thought it's not that bad, although it's not ideal. I'd still prefer to be able to just buy the games, obviously, but, you know, the fact that it just comes with the online service, which admittedly is not the best of online services, it's still, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm always a bit of a, playing a bit of devil's advocate in that case, but, I think some people are a little bit, overly angry about that kind of stuff when it was all happening. I mean, I guess it's still happening now. Just in general, I guess is what I mean to say. But yeah, so I don't know if, even though I think a GameCube Animal Crossing remake makes the most sense, I don't know if they do it just from how much they'd have to compromise, or if they could do it, I don't even know how worth it would be at that point. Like, you know, if you're not able to make a remake as good as the original just by default, then what's the point of making the remake at all? Feel better. I can feel my toes again. Thank you so much. I think we've definitely been over this point now, Marina. Yeah, so it's I don't know. It's interesting. I'd be curious to if they ever would tap into that older market, because that's the thing now, is that the whole series has been taken in this new direction that is pretty disconnected from the original games, especially in the realm of how, creative they let you be. That the idea of, of marketing our return to the old ones seems kind of out of left field. Like, why would they, get this market that gravitated towards this game for it being able to be creative in it, and it's the oldest version of the game where there's no very little creativity. I mean, like, closet store 3 items at a time, as how restrictive that game is in comparison to New Horizons having, what, like 4,000 items worth of storage. Just an example. Anyway, what's wrong, Blathers? Who mercy. Another odd customer paid us a visit the other day. I guess this isn't the end of this series of episodes. Really? 'Twas a lady, elegant and refined, almost certainly hailing from the big city. Yes, who, rather more refined than anyone from Mateiio, I thought. Ah, who? No, no, forgive me, please. I would never insinuate that residents of this town are uncouth, not at all. Yes, who? I just meant that this lady was refined like aged Silton, you see. I see. What? What of it? Your accusing eyes strike me to the very core. I assure you I am not smitten with this lovely, bewitching older woman. Who? I meant no one word. Yes, you've tied my tongue. This is all your fault. Yes. Anywho, to have a woman of such lofty, dare I say, angelic caliber, Jesus, Blathers, can you hide it a little bit? To have such a creature visit our humble museum. Well, hooty hoo, I say. As curator of this museum, I was ever so honoured. Come on, Blathers. I mean, just keep it in your pants, man. Also, calling me uncouth. Oh wait, I didn't mean to do that. I was gonna try and get him to donate. Let's see. Will he just say we've already got this, or will he say that this is a fake? Here you go. It's the Mona Lisa. Ah, who? Indeed. A famous painting has already been donated, what? This is rather humorous, actually. Spoon, you are the donor. Hoo-hoo. Let us not worry ourselves with which one is fake. Let us look the other way. Oh my Blathers! Oh, I thought he was saying, like, well, maybe the one in there is fake, or maybe this one's fake. I mean, who knows at this point, but he just doesn't care. He's not even investigating it further. He's just giving me my one and sending me on my way. Damn, blood, there's no integrity. Care for a cup of java to pick you up? It's 200 bells. What blend would you like? Usual. Cool. Got the specialized blend today, but it turned out a little differently. There we go. The perfect temperature to bring the flavor. 176 degrees. 1 fresh brewed cup. Drink up. Thanks, I will. Hot, 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 hot! Ah, what a flavor, what a feeling, but who knew coffee could get this hot? So Blathers is like... I'm assuming that was Gracie that Blathers was referring to. Thanks. That's not really any other character it could be. I suppose you could argue LaBelle, although I don't actually think she was even introduced as a character yet, which, I mean, I guess could have been a soft introduction for her, like, kind of how they sort of subtly introduced Leela, or Leilani, rather, through one of those referring to Cap'n. At least that's what I assume. It's interesting. Also, Blathers, I've actually never seen that dialogue before. It's really funny. Blathers is such a funny character, especially in this game, where they give him, like, yeah. I just think the fact that in the newer games, you're so predisposed to just skipping all of his interesting dialogue, it just makes him such an uninteresting character. At least through what is shown to the player, because who isn't going to skip? Most people are just going to skip whatever he has to say because they're just donating. Even if you donate him multiple things at once, he just automatically skips his spiels, so you don't even get to hear them. You have to go out of your way to individually donate stuff like the old games if you want to hear his descriptions, which I do, personally, because I like his dialogue, but I don't know, the fact you kind of have to hunt for it. That's kind of how it feels in New Horizons. You have to hunt for interesting interactions. Where this game kind of presents all of it. Like, that's just how the game is. Anyway, I've done enough ranting for one day, so yeah, that's going to be about it for today. Oh, actually, should I... How about I go and display the famous painting? What's nice about the art in this game is that there is no visual difference between fakes and real, genuine paintings. Which means, for one, I don't know how Blathers actually manages to distinguish between the two, but regardless of that, it means that I can just display it and it looks just as good as it would in the museum. And you know what? I'm going to get rid of the cake in the table, because I've already got a birthday cake in the main room. I'm going to put the famous painting down. Famous painting. There we go. That looks nice, having the Mona Lisa in there. And it just looks as genuine as the real thing. And you know, I don't know. I find that the visual difference as a gimmick is, it's interesting. It kind of provokes you to examine the art. There's some discrepancies in the fake art that are, like, exceedingly obvious. Like, something that blatantly wouldn't appear in an old piece of art. Whereas there's some differences that are so subtle that it's almost... It makes me wonder, like, did they expect you to look it up? Like, or... I mean, I guess you could argue that by, like, you're still engaging with the proper game design by looking up what the original painting looks like. But the problem is, to look up the original painting, you have to use the game's fake name for it, which means it's probably just going to give you the answer anyway, So it's, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind buying a painting and just having, like, a 50-50 chance that it's fake no matter what. But yeah, that's going to be about it for today.